Hello there and welcome back. What I've got here for you now is something very special. It's probably the most special item I've ever reviewed. For many years I've used lots of different types of knives, survival knives, machetes, you name it, I've tried it. Right, never really found the perfect one. Right, I often wonder whether it was there. Then I found this. This is the world famous Parry Blade. Right, now this is not just the design, and this is something that's most important to this knife. It's not just the design that has been thrown together by somebody on a drawing board and then fell off the end of a production line. Right, this knife was the sum total of the designer's 32 years military service. 27 of those years were spent in the Special Air Service. Right, and over the years, right, Mel Parry, the guy that designed this, he tried all and sundry, a bit like all of us have. Right, and at the end of the day, this is the sum total of that experience, right, that he's gained through all those years working and operating in different countries throughout the world in different weather conditions, right, needing to cut and manipulate various materials. Right, now when you actually take a look at this, this is one hell of a knife. Right, I've never yet found a knife that is as complete as this one, and you can tell just by the look of it. Right, and when you actually get to use it, it's so much better. Right, you can actually tell straight away that this is going to do the job, and believe me, it does. There's enough of me waffling. Let's just take a look at this. You've got an overall length, right, of 349 millimeters. Right, the blade length from the cross guard here, right, 220 mil. The blade itself is 5 millimeters thick. Right, the weight of the knife, and this is what makes this knife so usable. Right, it's 634 grams. That is just the knife. Right, so when you're chopping with this, it really chops. It cuts like an axe. Right, very impressed with this. What gives it its power and its strength is the design of it. Right, when you just take a look at this, for a start off, here we've got approximately 50 millimeters of straight edge. Now that 50 millimeter straight edge, that can be honed to razor sharpness. Now I'm not going to go and slice my finger just to prove it, but it is that sharp. From roughly here to the end, right, is a bolo machete shaped blade, and this is what gives you your chopping power. Right, the great thing about it is the way that it's actually ground. If you take a look at this, you've got the 5 millimeter thickness here where you really need it. It's a full tang construction. That 5 millimeter thickness continues right the way down the blade, right, until you get to here, and then it's still very thick. It's just enough grind on the end to give you that spear point that you've got there. The triangle in the end is designed for pulling nails, and it does that extremely well. On the back of the blade, you've got roughly 3 inches of serrations, fantastic for cutting rope or webbing, and it just eats through that. I'll show you that later on. The back of the blade has been left full thickness up the top here, which makes it perfect for battening, right, which I will show later on. Right, this goes through wood like a hot knife through butter. Right, the whole thing, right, it's just, you can tell there's just so much effort gone into this. The knife itself is handmade. We'll go into that a little bit later. Right, but you've got your black or grey micarta scales which are screwed on. You can always unscrew these and replace them with wood if you wanted to, rubber, whichever tickles your fancy. Right, it's a nice handful. Right, now I've got big hands, and that fits perfectly. The jimping up the end here allows you to get right up close for fine work, right, and it really does work very well. Even though you've got the cross guard there, it just fits between your fingers, right, you've got fantastic grip. Even with cold wet hands it works. The cross guard is obviously preventing your hand from sliding up, but the extra heavy pommel designed for hammering on the end here, also when you're chopping, stops it from sliding out. Fantastic amount of thought. Look at the thickness of that pommel. Right, you knock nails in with this, just like you do with a club hammer, which I will show you later on. Right, I've got to say, sharpening this, it's a 420 stainless steel, right, coated with black DuPont Teflon, and it sharpens fantastically well. Right, in fact, right, with this, you get, excuse me 1 second, it's a bit tight at the moment because it's new, a sharpening steel with it. Now this is an easy lap steel, this is not a cheap piece of junk. Right, this is probably about the best on the market. Right, made in Carson City, Nevada. Right, sorry, that allows you not just to sharpen your cutting edge, but also your serrated edge as well. Fits in there beautifully. We won't go into that in this video, right, that's another one. Right, but at the end of the day, the sharpening of this is very easy. It retains its edge extremely well. Haven't tried chopping through nails and chain and so forth with it, but I wouldn't mind betting it would do it. Right, it is so strong, it retains this 5mm thickness. It is incredibly strong. It's ideal for prying, right? It's ideal for levering. It's just like having a crowbar in your hand. Right, the heat treat on this, right, it's heat treated to within 57-58 Rockwell, which just about makes it as perfect as you could possibly get, or even want. Just trying to think if there's anything else I can say about this. Right, apart from the fact, I mean, there's so much pride taken in these. Right, they're manufactured by a company in Sheffield, England called Staniforths. Right, and I think this is very, very important because these are actually handmade. Right, so when you actually look at the price tag, right, you're not getting a piece of junk off the end of a production line. Right, so please bear that in mind. These are handmade by craftsmen. Staniforths have been in the knife making business since the end of the 1800s, so they really know what they're doing. If you want to see how much care goes into making one of these, in the description box down there, right, there's going to be a couple of links. Right, and there's one to a series of videos that were made of a knife being made at Staniforths, right, and that is something you really want to spend a bit of time watching, because it would just go to show the level of quality, the level of craftsmanship that actually goes into putting these together. Very, very important that there's too much junk out there on the market that's palmed off, right, as being something super duper, right, and in reality it's not, it's junk. This is the real deal. What we're going to do now, we're going to nip off outside, right, we're going to take a look at how well this performs. Right, what I will say, if you've got any questions, by all means drop me a line, I'll always get you the answers. Right, let's go outside. Hello, right, as I said, off to the outdoors, right, and we'll see what the Parry Blade's capable of. Right, as I said to you earlier on in the video, I was quite surprised how quick and effectively this cuts, right, and you know, I mean, it is just something else, right. Well, let's just take a look. You've had enough of me waffling. First thing to remember, always make use of the lanyard, right, that way this keeps the parry attached to you exactly where it should be, hopefully in your hand. Right, as I was saying, right, first of all, remember, right, you've got the bolo shape of the blade, right, and the deep belly towards the front of the blade is exactly the bit that's going to give you your best chopping power. Right, it's enough of me. Right, let's have a look. Like I was saying, right, this cuts like an axe, and I tell you, it just reminds me so much as if you were chopping this stick. This is a fresh cut stick, right, it's nothing that's been sitting there rotting for months, right, it just makes me think of cutting it with an axe, and it does exactly the same job. Right, now like I said to you, right, in the first part, we've got this 50mm straight edge here, and this is the bit that gives you the ability to carry out fine work with this. So if we choke nicely up to that using the gin pin, right, as you can see, this is cutting very, very well. Very impressed with this. Right, now in addition to that, we've got the ability to use this, as I said earlier on, as a battling tool, Right, and again we've got some fresh cut wood here. Right, just to show you how well this battens. Right, again, just put the lanyard on. Right, and using the deep belly again, so there's always a protrusion at the end here. Right, and another piece of wood as a batten. Right, here we go. Right, that's the first split. And then we do the second one. And there you have it. Like a hot knife through butter. Last but not least, the ability to use this as a hammer. Right. Again, we're going to use the flat end towards the front of the blade here for driving the nail in. Right, now that's got you started. And then using the heavy pommel end that gets you driven in quite nicely. Right, and obviously if you carry on it's just going to go deeper and deeper, but to use this as a pry bar, if you've got something that you can lever against, it might help you if the nail's protruding slightly, and out it pops. And don't forget, if you need to use your nails and you're finding them in your timber and you're building a shelter, don't throw them away. It is most definitely a renewable source. All the way through this, if you've been looking at the Parry blade and thinking it's a bit too heavy, a bit too cumbersome, not quite what you want, right, long in the blade, don't stretch too far, because I'm doing another video review on the Parry Hunter, which, as you can see, is a little bit shorter. It's not quite half the weight of the Parry blade, but it still maintains all of the design features and functions of its larger brother, the Parry blade. So check out the review on the Parry Hunter. If you have any questions in relation to this video, the Parry blades, right, please feel free to drop me a line. Right, I'm only a message away and will gladly answer any questions that you may have. Right, I'd just like to take this final opportunity just to show you the sheath that comes with this. It's a heavyweight called Dura Construction. I would hazard a guess and say it's about a 5 or maybe 750 denier. It could even be 1,000. Right, it's very heavily made. Right, in fact, it's possibly slightly over-engineered, but that means it's going to last you a lifetime. Right, fully MODI compliant on the back. It's got a handy pouch on the front here, carrying your sharpening steel that comes with the knife. Leg ties, you name it, it's got it. Right, so just remember, right at the end of the video you're going to find some links, right, and also in the description box down there, right, there'll also be some other links, right, for you to take a look around, right, see where you can go for these, right, and take a look at the videos of Staniforths workshops, right, where the Parry blades are made. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to drop me a line if you've got any questions. Please subscribe to the channel, right, you'll get email updates on any future reviews that come out, right, and thank you, goodbye.